I want to look at Kyla Scanlon's book, In This Economy. Why did I choose her to talk about economics? I think Scanlon's 30,000-foot overview of economics and finance gives us a better understanding of where we are post-pandemic. Her self-described human-centric economic analysis is also a good springboard off which to critique other economic perspectives. Let's start with what is economics. As Scanlon puts it, it's a tool for decoding our collective decisions, especially regarding resource use. Her most important takeaway is that people are the economy. It's easy to think of economics as a story of numbers, but it's really a social science with more ties to psychology and sociology than pure math. Now, let's take a quick Marxist interlude. I want us to think of money as an embodiment of human labor, specifically socially necessary labor. That is, labor specific to a time and place. For example, telephone switchboard operators. In the early 20th century, telephone switchboard operators were a necessary, vital backbone of our telecommunications. And when I say our, of course, I'm talking of Western or most Western civilizations. But regardless, their labor is no longer really valid or useful today. And that's not to say they aren't valid or useful from a moral perspective, but we have different ways of performing the labor that they once performed. In the same way, there were other societies that lived alongside us in the early 20th century that did not have the same telecommunications infrastructure that we did, and therefore did not require the use of telephone switchboard operators. So it's not just any labor that money is embodying, it's labor specific to a certain society. Let's get back to Scanlon and her overview of the economy. There are three forces at work when we try to make predictions about the economy. Our expectations, what we think will happen, our theories, what we think should happen, and then there's reality, which is what actually happens. Scanlon quotes another writer here explaining that our expectations and theories never fully encompass reality. We have fragments of reality, each mediated through our own perspectives, and we use that to make predictions about what reality will become. The interplay between these three forces means that economics comes with a lot of uncertainty. What we think will happen or should happen often isn't what happens. And it's within this uncertainty that we understand the world through vibes, the facts we have and are willing to accept. For example, someone making a 5-year economic analysis in 2019 is not going to have the foresight of the COVID-19 pandemic to be able to accurately predict what will happen. Similarly, someone who does not accept climate change as a fact is going to underscore the importance of global changes in weather and its impact on our future economy. Both these examples and many others can highlight that our expectations aren't rational, and they can't be. We don't have full access to all the facts. This is a departure from the supposed rational objectivity of the market's invisible hand. And this makes sense. Markets aren't rational. They're based on human interaction. In this case, rationality is a matter of perspective. Person A, let's say, goes to the store to buy eggs. They're looking for eggs that come with the certified humane label. Person B finds this silly. What good does a label do to indicate animal welfare? Person B chooses the cheapest eggs. Person A and person B both acted rationally from their own perspectives, but their decisions were different because they had different expectations of reality based on the facts they had and were willing to accept. And so this uncertainty creates an invisible hand not based off objective rationality, but instead based off vibes. The vibe economy is a term coined by others, but one that Scanlon writes about in most of her pieces. It's the crux of her overview of the economy. Now, let's look closer at money. What makes money money? Scanlon gives 3 common characteristics of different monies used throughout human history. For these reasons, something like water wouldn't be a very good currency. It evaporates, so it's hard to hold value over time. It's hard to measure, so it's hard to compare the value of goods and services with it. And trying to use water as a form of exchange would also be very difficult. But there's another important attribute of money, and it's that there is a shared trust in it. Despite what Scanlon says here, even gold as a currency is based on trust. If I hand you a dollar or a gold coin, or I send you a Dogecoin, it's not that you necessarily trust that what I'm giving you holds value. It's your trust in the larger monetary system. That when you go to trade that money, you'll be able to get the value you're looking for. Money is a way to recognize value within a group of people who all have a slightly different concept of what value is. And so, money that is trusted becomes a shared understanding of value. Money is a social stronghold of value mediated by human interactions. Money is a human construct, and this is a good thing. Money serves a function. It gives us a shared concept of value, something we can believe in so that we can work together better. It's with this understanding of money that we can address some people's concerns about the government printing the dollar to obsolescence. The main goal of money is to hold on to the trust that people have in it as a store of value. The value of the dollar doesn't come from the number printed, it comes from people's trust in it. So yes, if we print more dollars and this causes a large-scale loss of faith in the dollar as a reliable form of currency, then its value will fall. But say we print more dollars to fund work projects, like a much-needed revamp of our electrical grid. In this case, the extra dollars could come with a recognized form of value to us, lower energy costs in the long run because of the work we put in now. Now, I say could because, as Scanlon repeatedly points out, this is all vibes-based. Sure, the government could print more dollars and use that to fund large-scale public works projects. But if the macro vibe is that these works projects won't work out, then yes, those extra dollars printed aren't going to pair up with our collective sense of value. Of course, our vibes could be way off. We could be going off what we hear. If we're told the government never does anything efficiently, then of course, why would we trust that a new public works project is going to bring value according to the dollars spent on it? And so we're back to that expectation, theory, reality triangle. Do what we expect or theorize to happen actually represent what happens? And this really is the foundation of economic analysis. We're looking at human behavior in big, complex groups and trying to determine if what we think will happen actually reflects what happens. And as Scanlon repeatedly says, let all this be with the understanding that people are the economy. Now, before we leave, something for us to think about. Is the vibe economy an accurate representation of economics? Or is it simply an example of language mediating our understanding of reality?